Weekend 2 of the VCT Americas Stage 1 regular season provided us with some very solid matches. We saw some upset victories, some teams that were maybe looking shaky at the start of the season start to find their form, and overall a big change in the overall standings in the Americas. This Americas League is shaping up to be very competitive. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about the second weekend of the VCT Americas regular season Stage 1 and looking at all of the games. So these are the matches that happened last weekend, starting with 100 Thieves versus G2. Now this was a match between two teams that should be neck and neck in the standings throughout most of the season. G2 winning the first match of this Stage 1 against Evil Geniuses, 100 Thieves losing their first one against Sentinels. So in terms of importance in the overall standings, this game meant a lot more to 100 Thieves than it did to G2. Not to say that G2 didn't care about it or didn't see it as important, but it definitely seemed like 100 Thieves wanted this one a lot more than G2 did. I did expect this match to at least go to 3 matches. It did not stay that way. It was a 2-0 victory on the side 100 Thieves, looking a lot better than what we've seen of them so far this season. The only teams that they've played this season so far are teams that are seen at the top of the Americas, so this is their first match against a team that is probably more around the mid-range. So if 100 Thieves can win these games against teams that they should be around the same point in the standings, then they should be in a pretty good position to be one of the better teams in that group. And they definitely did a good job showing that. Looking at the VLR page, we have Bind was the first map. This was a 13-9 win on the side of 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves winning the first 2 matches, G2 then tying it at 4, and then 100 Thieves taking a good hold on the lead, winning 5 rounds in a row. 8-4 at the half, 100 Thieves only needed to win 5. They would take this one. It is only a second match with G2 so far, but Icy so far isn't looking like the solution to G2's problems. Moving on to Split, 100 Thieves managed to take this one 13-8, so similar scoreline, but going on much more of a win streak. G2 were able to start this match 4-1, but then 100 Thieves were able to win 7 rounds in a row to take the lead going into the second half. So very good work from 100 Thieves on their defense side on Split. For the MVPs of this match, on the side of 100 Thieves, we have EU going 33, 23, and 7 plus 10. He's looked good for them so far. Cryo also had a good game. I'm really big on Cryo right now. I know he's not looking super dominant, but he is playing some pretty good Valorant right now. On the G2 side, Trent went 35, 33, and 23 for plus 2. Overall, decent game from him, but G2 weren't able to get much going. So for 100 Thieves, this is how you want to look after the losses that you've suffered so far. This is their first win of 2024, so very good stuff from them. I think they're going to be a good team, and they have to be able to beat these mid-range teams to stay out of the pack. On the side of G2, this isn't super detrimental to your chances. You still won your first match of the game, so you just have to make sure that you're bouncing back for that next one. So moving on to what was a very crazy match, we have Leviathan versus Sentinels. This match was insane. It does end up being a 2-0 victory on the side of Leviathan, so looking at just that scoreline, you're like, oh wow, Leviathan just destroyed Sentinels, which is not something you would really expect knowing the way that Leviathan have been playing so far in 2024, but Leviathan looked a lot better in this match than they have in previous matches so far, and mainly that's kind of because of Aspas. I usually talk about the MVPs at the end of the segment, but Aspas going 68, 34, and 9 for plus 34 on the match. He broke the single map kill record. I'll tell you the record in a second, but Aspas is just insane, and he did not want to lose this game. He was tired of people talking trash on his team. He was like, we are not losing this one. He nearly single-handedly dragged Leviathan to the victory, and it worked out in spades for them. But this was a crazy first map on Lotus. This first map on Lotus was just absolutely insane. 19-17 in favor of Leviathan. We had 12 rounds of overtime. It just seemed like no one wanted to win this game. It just kept going back and forth and back and forth, and Leviathan almost blew this map too. They had a very good first half, winning the first 7 rounds of the match. Sentinels only able to get 3 on their defense side, 9-3 at the half. That's not a curse anymore, but it almost was for Leviathan. Sentinels win 3 rounds at the start of the half, Leviathan win 2, Sentinels win another 2, Leviathan win 1 to get 2 match point, and then Sentinels storm back, they win 4 in a row to bring this game to overtime. This looked like it could just be another huge collapse on the side of Leviathan. And then it's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Sentinels won 2 in a row at some point, but then Leviathan won 2 in a row in overtime. It was just crazy, but eventually from some amazing plays by players like Aspas, they just they won after what was just an insanely long game. And it just felt like whoever was winning this map was going to take the whole match, because whoever wins gets a huge energy boost from just that gauntlet and being able to win it, and then whichever team lost was just going to have the wins just completely taken out of them. So that's kind of what happened for Icebox. It was a 13-11 victory on the side of Leviathan, so Sentinels didn't play terrible, but Leviathan, they were just able to take it. They had all the momentum. So going back to that single map kill record on Aspas, he had 47 kills on that first map on Lotus. 47, 19, and 6 for plus 28. This man is a machine. His Raze looked a lot better today than it had in the past. He's at least better on Jet than he is on Raze, but he was able to prove that he can stand with the best when it comes to Raze, which no one should be surprised by. He is not a Jet 1 trick. Anybody that's saying that, stop it. For the MVPs of this match, of course, Aspas, we already talked about him. On the side of Sentinels, 39, 40, and 3 for -1. So on the side of Leviathan, this is a huge win. You beat the best team in your region. A lot of people counted you out after that last match against Cloud9, me included. I had no faith in this team after that, what was just a huge collapse in overtime as well. But they were able to pull through. They were able to beat Sentinels. Sentinels didn't look very good during this match overall, but I'm not saying that to take away anything from Leviathan. They looked a lot better. Aspas kind of had to carry, so there are still some depth concerns when I have about this team. But Kane had a good game. Mazzino had a decent one as well. Common Text maybe struggling a little bit, but overall, this is a much better result on the side of Leviathan. And for Sentinels, you didn't look as good as you did regularly. You finally lose on Lotus. I think this is their first loss on Lotus of 2024, but we've seen how Sentinels respond to a loss afterwards. They haven't lost in their own region since Loud all the way back at the start of kickoff. Yes, they lost against G2, but I don't count that one because I was playing. They already won after they won the first map, so it didn't matter at all. So their real first loss in their own region, that was against Loud, so at the very start of kickoff. It's been a long time since Sentinels have lost in the Americas. So hopefully for them, this match humbles them a bit, and they're able to come into the next match with just a fire and are able to once again prove that they are a force to be reckoned with. So no one should take this team lightly, and I think losing one is fine if you're Sentinels. You're okay. So moving on to the Sunday, we have Crew versus MIBR. This one ended up being a 2-0 win in favor of Crew. I was talking in previous videos about my faith in MIBR. I think they're going to be a decent team this year, but unfortunately they weren't able to beat a team that they kind of have to beat in terms of their own standings. Crew is a team that on paper should be around the same part of the standings as MIBR, so this is kind of similar to the 100 Thieves versus G2 match. So this would be a very important victory for whichever team came out on top, and Crew were able to do it 2-0. I was hoping that this match would be a bit closer. It wasn't a huge blowout or anything, but Crew definitely had control of this match from start to finish. They are looking a lot better from previous years. This is their second win on the year so far, so Crew fans might actually have something to cheer for this year. So it's very nice to see Crew finally be doing well in the Americas. It's been a long time coming, so we'll see if they can build on this. Starting off with the first map, we had Icebox. It was a 13-6 win in favor of Crew. Pretty close first half with it ending 7-5 in favor of Crew, but then MIBR were only able to find 1 on their attack half. Similar story on Icebox. Crew were able to take this one 13-8, and it happened in a similar way. 7-5 at the half. MIBR got 3 on their defense side, but Crew were just dominant throughout. They take this one. For the MVPs, Kesnet showing yet again how he might be one of the most underrated duelists in the entire Americas. 38, 27, and 6, plus 11. He's on a roll right now. And on the side of MIBR, JZZ, 29, 31, and 9 for -2. So not a great match overall for the MIBR players. So for Crew, this is a good win. You beat another Brazilian team. This is them starting to establish themselves as a good team in the mid-region of Americas, and potentially one that could upset some better teams later in the season. They are playing Evil Geniuses next. If they're able to win that one, they're actually in quite a good spot in their standings. They do have a very tough group, but this team might be able to sneak their way into playoffs. Do not count them out just yet. We'll see how the rest of the stage goes for Crew, but right now they're looking good. And on the side of MIBR, this is an unfortunate way to start off your stage 1. They were looking pretty good at kickoff. They were able to upset some teams that are seen as better than them, but that has not happened here. They are playing Sentinels next. I don't like their chances for that one, but crazier things have happened. But overall, MIBR, this is kind of what we expected from them, but I am hoping that we see some of the sauce that they had at kickoff during this regular season stage 1. I don't know if it happens against Sentinels, but we'll see. So moving on to the match that I probably have the least to say about, this is Energy versus Furia. So these two teams played in the very first match of the VCT Americas 2024 all the way at the start of kickoff, and it was a very similar story to this one, 2-0 victory in favor of Energy to no one's surprise. Energy is seen as possibly the best team in Americas, Furia is seen as possibly the worst, so them losing 2-0 to Energy, it's just what's expected. I do feel bad for this Furia team, but I just don't know if I see this roster doing much of anything against teams of the caliber of Energy. Looking at the first map on Split, we see that Energy immediately took hold of this map. They did lose the pistol and then the bonus, but then Energy just win 13 in a row, so it didn't really matter. Breeze was a little closer with Energy taking it 13-8, so improvement there, Furia, hell yeah. It was the same story, it just wasn't as bad. Furia did win both pistols, they won the first 4 rounds in a row, but Energy's Energy, Demon 1, Victor, Crashy, they were all looking quite good during this match, so it's just an impossible task if you're Furia. For the MVPs on the side of Energy, you could have put Demon 1, a lot of people have been talking about his resurgence in the Americas, but Victor had a great match, 40, 23, and 8 for plus 17, this guy is amazing, I love Victor. He's great. On the side of Furia, we have Noswer, again, being their MVP. He went 25, 26, and 10 for -1. So not some solid performances on the side of Furia. We're not seeing any improvement from them. We're not seeing any upset potential. I don't have a lot of faith in this team. So for the side of Energy, this is an easy win. You're looking pretty good right now. You've been Loud and Furia. You're in a great position to make playoffs, and they're probably going to win their next couple matches. So they are proving what we expected of them, which is to be a top team in the region. They are playing Leviathan next, so that's going to be a very interesting matchup, but I think I like Energy's chances in that one. So moving on to our last match, we have the match that happened today. We have Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. Now, in past videos, I say Cloud9 too fast. It sounds like Clown9. I'm just saying Cloud9. I'm not trying to not pronounce the D. I'm just bad at speaking sometimes. So I will make an effort this video to not say Clown9. I will say Cloud9. But they won this one 2-1. This was an interesting match for both teams. Evil Geniuses coming off of a loss against G2, an unfortunate revenge from G2 onto them. Cloud9 coming off that win against Leviathan, a team that seems much better than them, looking pretty good. And while Evil Geniuses did take the first map of this match, Cloud9 were able to establish dominance on that second map and then do it again on the third. Right now it's just feeling like Cloud9 is not starting matches very well. They lost that first map against Leviathan as well, but they're able to just be resilient, adapt, and just grind out matches to win. That's been their MO so far this stage. Looking at the first map, we have Lotus was a 13-9 win in favor of Evil Geniuses. EG admittedly looking a lot better than what they looked against G2. Cloud9 did have the advantage going into the second half. They were up 7-5, but EG were able to win 4 in a row, take the lead, and then win. But for Sunset, it would be kind of a flip of what happened. We had Cloud9 taking the first half 8-4, and then winning 4 in a row to take a chokehold on the lead. EG tried to make a comeback, but it was very clear that Cloud9 were going to win this one. Then on Split, this was kind of a stomping. 13-4 in favor of Cloud9. 10-2 at the half. They only needed 3 going into the second half. They win the pistol and the bonus. EG get 2. Doesn't matter. Cloud9 takes this one. And one thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Evil Geniuses is I think their comps need a bit of work. What we saw early when it came to G2 and their character comps at kickoff was they were trying some interesting ideas. They were playing Deadlock on Icebox, that was cool, and I think they need to get back to being kind of wacky about their comps. For Evil Geniuses, they don't have the same kind of top-end talent that teams in the league have. They don't have an Oxy, they don't have a Demon 1. They have a Giacomo, and I like Giacomo, but I don't know if he's in the same tier as some of those other players that are on these other teams. And just their overall depth just isn't as good as other teams in this league. So I think to offset that, they need to get really creative with their character comps. I just think that they need to keep adapting to be able to stay competitive in this league. If they're able to catch teams off guard, then they could get some upset wins. So far, the Deadlock only worked against G2, and then they didn't bring it back. It didn't work against Loud. But that's not the only kind of wacky creative thing that you can do. I wouldn't be surprised if this team ends up running Clove, since they are now available to play in week 3. I just think that they need to get creative, because right now just playing similar comps to everybody else, I don't think it's going to get them very far. So for the MVPs of each team, Oxy for Cloud9, 76, 45, and 13 for plus 31. great match from him today. And then on the side of Evil Geniuses, Apoth going 40, 44, and 12 for -4. So not a lot of great performances on the side of Evil Geniuses. So for Cloud9, they're looking pretty good so far. They've now won their first 2 matches. They're in a great spot to make playoffs as well. They've been looking very resilient so far. Oxy is firing on all cylinders. The return of Rooney has worked out quite well so far. So they're in a really good spot. I think the roster changes that they've done so far have worked out. So we'll see if they're able to do what they did last year and be competitive within these regular season stages. But the goal for them should be to not just be a good team in the region, it is being able to get to those international tournaments. This team has not been to one in a very long time. And for Evil Geniuses, this is kind of what I expected from them. I know they have Potter and I know they have Giacomo, but it's just tough with the roster that they have. They just don't have the same kind of top-end talent that other teams have. I do think that Evil Geniuses, they have to think outside the box to get anywhere, so I'm interested to see what happens with them for the season, but I don't know if I see this team going very far. Unfortunate for them. It's not a terrible roster, but it's just not one that I see being very good. So for next weekend, we have Super Week, so every team is playing, I think, twice next week, so it's going to be crazy. We're going to have to make a lot of videos. But on Saturday, it will be Sentinels versus MIBR. I'm taking Sentinels for that one. And then Cloud9 versus Loud. That's kind of a tough one, honestly, because Cloud9 have looked a lot better. Loud has had a 2-week break now. So overall, I think Loud should take this one, so I will pick them, but I don't think it's going to be an easy out. So those were the matches that happened last weekend. Let me know what you guys thought of them in the comment section down below. Please click like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.